Hi, hi everyone. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. I'm Lei. Okay, we have a lot of people online. Excellent. Thank you for joining my live discussion on Saturday night or Sunday morning. I wasn't sure what topic to cover for this Saturday night's discussion. And then this morning, Hu Jintao was all over the news. I have friends and fans asking me, what happened? What happened to Hu Jintao? So that what an excellent topic for us to discuss. The CCP's 20th Party Congress is already over, so it has kind of went on rather as CCP planned. It was not eventful, but on the last day, on the closing day, this drama unfolded. So today we'll talk about what happened on the last day of CCP's Party Congress. And secondly, we'll talk about why did Xi Jinping remove, right, quote unquote, remove Hu Jintao. And then more importantly, I want to talk about where is Xi Jinping taking China from here? And I think that's a more important question. Can people hear me okay? Because I do not see any feedback. I hope you guys can hear me okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I have been looking into what happened because we have seen a video, right? A viral video that showed the whole process. I'll play that to you. Excellent. You guys can hear me. Great. I was wondering what happened. What happened before that point? So some early pictures show that before it went on, Xi Jinping and Hu Jintao were engaged in a lively discussion. We don't know what they were discussing. But at the time, Hu Jintao already had removed his glasses, but the two were talking. And then what happened is the video we have. Let me play the videos just for those who have not seen it. Here's the video. I took out hold on. Is that the video? Oh, that's not the video. Sorry. This is the video. Okay, here we go. So yeah. So this is what. Oh, let me start from the beginning. Sorry. So this is from BBC. We have a staff who's trying to lift Hu Jintao from his chair, and then Hu tried to touch Xi's folder, and then the guy is talking to him. And then Li Zhanshu on his right gave his folder to the staff, and the staff is still persuading him to leave, who does not want to leave or did not want to leave. And this is, and then he already stood up, and it seems like he's confused or not wanting to go. And Li Zhanshu wanted to stand up, but Wang Huning next to him signaled him to sit down. And then Hu Jintao said something to Xi and patted Li Keqiang. As he left, look at all the officials were motionless. They did not have much expression on their face. You probably can't see because it's blocked. The only person, I stopped the video, the only person that you see with kind of a white hair, the only person who sat with his arms folded, sort of like in a protest, is Hu Chunhua. And then as Hu Jintao walked out, let me just play this. So that's that video. I think I have another one. Yeah, this one. This one is oh, this is removed. Hold on. Yeah, this video is a wide shot. I just want to show you how, as this was happening, people remained still. There was no commotion. People did not, other than Li Zhanshu and Wang Huning, the guy to his right, all the other CCP leaders remained as if nothing was happening or it had nothing to do with them. I'll talk about that later. And then I want you to see towards the end how Hu Chunhua was the only person who sat with his arms folded in front of his chest. Uh, and then CCP later issued a statement saying that Hu left due to health reasons. But look at here, he's walking fine. He does not have any issues. He's walking out by himself. He's walking pretty fast. He's walking normally. And the last person on the left is Hu Chunhua. The last person on the left, and he's the only one that's tiny, but you can see that he's the only one who sat with his arms folded in front of his chest. And if you see the close-up shot, he looked rather mad. Okay, so this is what happened, right? And hold on, let me see. Let me remove, add to stream. So the question is, why did Xi Jinping remove Hu Jintao? I mean, that's the question that everyone is asking. Sorry, here we go. Right, I'm gonna talk over these pictures. So these are the pictures, right? This is the picture. This is the picture as the staff. Some people have shown pictures saying that this guy, the guy who was wearing mask, is Xi Jinping's bodyguard. I have seen a picture circulating saying that he is one of Xi Jinping's bodyguard. Yeah, and then so the question is, why did Xi Jinping remove Hu Jintao? There are two theories that I've seen. One is it's a pre-arranged drama, Maoist drama, just to show his power or to intimidate those who oppose him. That's one theory, and there's another theory. The other theory takes a little bit to explain. It has to do with the timing of the incident. If you really look at what happened on that day, which is today, right? In China, it's the 22nd, in the morning of the 22nd. The morning was a closed door session where they discussed the final list, or the final list of Central Committee members, which is a list of about 200 people with another 170 alternate members. So that's really a closed door discussion about the candidates before the vote. And Hu Jintao was removed around 11 o'clock, right before the vote. They were also going to vote not only on that, but also on other resolutions, like the amendment to the party constitutions. So the other theory says that it has to do with the closed door sessions leading up to that point. And if you look at the fact that almost like nobody on the podium showed any signs of reaction to what was happening, is telling us that people were aware of what had already happened before that, or why this is happening, right? If it's truly health related or other drama that people had not expected, there must be at least some kind of commotion. If you look at, and what's most interesting is the lack of facial expression on Li Keqiang and Wang. They completely are motionless. While this whole thing happened, the two sat there as if like they don't even move. So something has happened before that. Now, what has happened, right? So this has to do with the CCP's democratic process. So I'm going to spend a little time explain to you. Let me come back. What happened before that point. So on the 19th, the 2,000 plus delegates were quote unquote nominating candidates, who will be elected to be part of the Central Committee. So that's on the 19th. And then late the 20th and the 21st, they had a pre-election. And the CCP's pre-election is rather, in my mind, ridiculous, because the number of candidates is just 8% more than the final members. So you pretty much, so if CCP had elected the final number was 205 Central Committee members, and then the candidates are you just add 8%. So what? 8% of 200 is 16, 17 people. So you basically select from a pool of 222 people, you select 205 people. So basically you're going to drop 15 people. And that's what they call the pre-selection on the 20th and then the 21st. And then after the pre-selection is done, and then the delegates supposedly discuss again to eliminate the 15 people. And then they come up with the final list. And then that's for the 22nd. And then they're going to vote. And their final vote, the CCP's vote, the final vote, basically, you vote 205 candidates for 205 positions. I don't know why they call that a vote or an election. Basically, it's not an election. You have the same amount of candidates and the same amount of positions, but they call that a vote, right? But still, they eliminated 8%. So the other view believes that Li Keqiang and Wang were part of the pre-elections, right? But on the last day, they were removed from the list because the final Central Committee member list does not include Li Keqiang and Wang Yang, which means that they're going to retire. They will not be, because if you are currently, Politburo Standing Committee members, and then you're not even part of the Central Committees, unless you hold a ceremonial position, you're not going to play a big role in the CCP leadership. So basically, they're out. They're out of the top leadership. So the other belief, the other view is that Hu Jintao was shocked to find out that two of his mentees, shall we say, are not even in the Central Committee. And not only that, there is talk that Hu Chunhua, so let me show this. Hu Chunhua, the favorite person, the person who is most likely to succeed Li Keqiang to be the next premier, has less of a chance to be the next premier than Li Qiang, one of Xi Jinping's favorites. So when, given his age, Hu Jintao was not likely to join any of the pre-election or all the other discussion or event. So on that day, he was shocked to find out all of his people, 2 are out and 1 is probably already out. We just don't know, right? We don't know who will be in the Politburo or the Politburo Standing Committee until midnight today, I think. So he must have said something there in the closed door sessions. And then it was right before they opened up the event for media. So all the media, so Hu Jintao was removed at 11 o'clock. At 11:09, that's according to CCP's press release, Xi Jinping announced the Central Committee member list, or they did the vote by show of hands, and it was unanimous. There was 0 against and 0 abstention. So everyone agreed. So the other view is Xi Jinping does not feel confident to do the voting in front of world's media after Hu Jintao had raised his objection or opinion or whatever he said. And that's when Xi Jinping decided he wants him to be removed. So that view versus everything was premeditated. Xi Jinping just want Hu Jintao to be removed from day one, and then it's just his time to, he want to show the world media that who's in charge. I think between these two views, I tend to believe the second view is more likely, because Xi Jinping doesn't. If you put yourself in his shoes, he's always in a crisis mode, right? He always has to deal with people who are against him. So from his perspective, he just wants the event to go on, finish, get what he wanted, get his people in their positions, um, without any big drama. So he does not want drama. So the fact that he planned a big drama for the world's media, I think is highly unlikely. And it proves that this drama does not serve him well. I mean, everyone is talking about what a you know, what a tyrant he is. It just doesn't make sense, right? So I tend to believe it's not premeditated. I believe something happened. And the other thing is, Xi Jinping did not tell Hu Jintao who he wanted to be in the next Politburo Standing Committee, or who he wanted to be the next premier until very last minute. Because from Xi Jinping's perspective, he probably think, I don't need to let people know. I'm going to do what I want. So he did not show Hu Jintao the respect by giving him a heads up. Hey, this is my plan. Your people are not going to be in the next leadership team. It's probably hard for him to tell him that. So he just chose not to say anything. So by the time Hu Jintao discovered it, it did not fare well. So that's what happened. And everybody, the 2,000 plus delegates, must have seen it happen in front of their eyes. So when he was removed, I mean, we can't see the people in the audience. We can only see the people sitting on the podium. They just remained motionless. And even when Li Zhanshu, one of Xi Jinping's close allies, tried to show courtesy by standing up, Wang Huning, who is nicknamed Xi Jinping's political makeup artist, so who knows how to pull the right behavior, right? Who knows how to do all the right PR, do the right things in front of the camera, signal him to sit down, don't do anything, because it's no longer an occasion for you to show graciousness. It could be a wrong political move. So that's what I think happened, based on everything that I've read and that people have discussed. I think that's the most likely scenario. Although we don't know, right? We don't know what really happened, probably until after midnight tonight, when the Politburo members and the Politburo Standing Committee member list is announced, so we can get an idea of what really happened. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so I had some slides prepared. I just talked over them. So obviously it's not health related. I do not believe it's prearranged theater. Oh, by the way, this is a picture. This is a picture between the two of them at the opening ceremony. Xi Jinping showed, a nice gesture when he greeted Hu Jintao. So this was at the opening ceremony. Yeah, and this also picture makes me believe that it's highly unlikely that it's premeditated. Okay, so now let's talk about the shocking news that Li Keqiang and Wang are not going to be in the next leadership, in the next Politburo Standing Committee. So here's the current 7 Politburo members, right? The two guys on the right are both over the age of 68, so they are going to retire. Well, thank you everyone for your donation. I really appreciate it. Thank you. YouTube's algorithm is not on my side, so I practically depend on your donation to keep this channel going. So I really appreciate you. Thank you, TJ Lewis and William Warren. Thank you. So I will come back to the questions later. So the two guys on the left, I marked them red. They're both under the age of 68, but they're out. So obviously Xi Jinping is changing the rule. He's no longer following the age rule. And also, this was a previous picture I showed the makeup of the current Politburo members by political affiliation. So the blue bubble is the Xi Jinping faction. The two red bubble are Jiang Zemin faction, and then two check mark are quote unquote youth league or Hu Jintao faction. So you could see how the two Hu Jintao allies who are both under the age limit are out. And so this is um, heartache for Hu Jintao. This is why, he was not very happy. And remember, at the beginning of this month, I believe, no, maybe at the end of September, there was a rumor. There were a lot of rumors about who's going to be in the next Politburo committee, and one guy who was fed a list by the Xi affiliates. Basically, he said that people working for Xi Jinping, gave him a list to say, "Hey, here's a list of members. Here's a list of 7 members for the next Politburo." At the time, we discussed this, and then you see everyone in this chart. Everyone, 6 out of 7 are Xi Jinping's people, right? His loyalist. The only guy who's not is Hu Chunhua, who is Hu Jintao's mentee. He is the person that Hu Jintao wanted to have succeed Xi Jinping, and that's why Xi Jinping is very cautious about him and doesn't like him very much. So I asked the question, if this was indeed the ideal, at the time we said this is the ideal Politburo committee member list by the Xi Jinping's faction, because it has everybody. It has 6 out of 7 people are his loyalists. Only 1 is from Hu Jintao. Then what happened? What happened in the last months? How come Hu Chunhua is not likely to be the next premier? Or at least people say his chance of becoming the next premier is 30 to 40% versus Li Qiang. Li Qiang is currently the party secretary of Shanghai. He is notoriously known for the Shanghai lockdown, which has caused a lot of criticisms, right, both inside and outside China. And if Li Qiang is definitely one of Xi Jinping's favorites. So if Li Qiang indeed become the next premier, he would have to break like a big CCP protocol, because in the history of the CCP, the only person who did not become everyone had to be the vice premier before becoming the premier. The only person that was the exception was Zhou Enlai, who was a founding member of the CCP, who was the first premier of PRC. So he was the exception. But after him, everyone, even Hua Guofeng, Mao's successor, had been a vice premier before he became premier. So everyone had to play the role of a vice premier before they become premier. And right now, Hu Chunhua, who is Hu Jintao's chosen successor for Xi Jinping, is the only Politburo member who has the experience of, who is the only Politburo standing committee member who has the experience of vice premier. So it's like there's no one else who meet that criteria or has that credential to be the next premier. So he's the only one who has that credential. So that's why everybody assumed he will be the next premier. Even in the rumored list, even in the preferred Xi Jinping's list, he was said to be the premier. But now people don't believe so. So what happened in the last month? Right, so a lot has happened in the last months. So people always say CCP's politics is hard to predict because you don't know what could happen. Did the banner guy, the guy who protested on the bridge last week, the what's his name, Peng Zaizhou, right? The man who protested in Beijing on the bridge, on a bridge in Beijing. Could that have anything to do with this change? It might have. So we don't know, but it's okay. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we will know, who will be the next premier in a matter of what, 1.5 hours. By midnight tonight, we will know. Okay, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So let's talk about something that's very important, which is, what did the CCP vote after Hu Jintao was removed? Right, it was the closing session of the 20th Party Congress. In my mind, the most important thing is the party constitution amendments that Xi Jinping pushed. So they voted to pass 3 amendments, and it's worth spending some time to review what they are, because they will tell us the direction that China is going to. So the first is, the party constitution now include what Chinese say the 2 safeguarding and then the 2 establishments. So it's a long CCP jargon. I'm not going to read it. You could read it, but basically it just reaffirms Xi Jinping's core position within the party. It also reaffirms the authority he has within the party, right? It also reconfirms the Xi Jinping thoughts as the guiding wisdom of the party. And the reason this is important for Xi Jinping to include this in the party constitution is that now, if these things are added to the constitution, anyone who's against Xi Jinping, you're basically against the party. The biggest crime that one could commit in China is to be against the party. That's like political crime number 1. So by adding this amendment, he's basically making anyone who could possibly be opposing him to be anti-CCP, and that's a big crime. And you can watch my video that I released on October 18th, because that video is explained why adding these amendments to the constitution is very important to Xi Jinping. It's a very detailed. I explained it very detailed in this video. You can watch it. So the second amendment is related to Taiwan. Okay, it added these verbiage. So it basically said, the conference refers to the party Congress. So include basically the fighting spirit, fighting ability of the military, and strengthening the military through political ideas and reforms. Through political ideas, it's hard to translate the language. Basically, it means that the party will guide the military, right? So any military development, any military reform must follow party guidance. Like, it has to be politically correct. So politics rule over military strategies. That's just what CCP. How CCP runs their military. And then it has added 3 adjectives. The one country, 2 system principle is not new, but they added 3 adjectives: comprehensively, accurately, and firmly. So these 3 adjectives is important to Xi Jinping, because then he could interpret them however way he wanted. So if these verbiage are in the party constitution, then he can say, anytime if someone opposes his military strategy, he could say, well, this is not comprehensively implementing one country, 2 system principle, right? This is not accurately implementing one country, 2 systems principle. So these 3 adverbs give him the leeway to interpret his military strategy however he sees fit. Okay, and then he has the Taiwan independence, the one country, 2 system, and the unification of the motherland, all of that added to the party constitution. So the fact that this is added makes me think that, the threat over Taiwan is serious. It is there. Okay, the third amendment he made is concerning the economy, the direction of Chinese economy. Again, common prosperity is mentioned and is added to the constitution. So now, if you don't follow the direction of common prosperity, then you're really against the party. That's a big, big label to be imposed on anyone, right? So, and then it reiterated the internal market chain. It used the Chinese is 内循环. I don't even know how to translate that. It's like basically it will focus, its entire development model will be based on an internal or domestic supply demand cycle. It's not going to rely on as the main support for the economy. And then the mutually reinforcing domestic and international market cycle or chain is only a supplement. So you see, it's going to focus on its domestic 内循环, domestic supply and demand. It tries to cut the tie from the outside world and just be self-sufficient. I think that's the underlying message. So again, by adding this to the party constitution, I think it sends a very strong message to everyone. This is the economic direction that Xi Jinping has for China for the future, at least for the next 5 years. By common prosperity, it's really going back to the planned economy. I think people say this is a very clear message that China is steering away from a market economy and is going back to a planned economy. All right, so that's what just passed on the 22nd. Other interesting things I want to mention to you in the new Central Committee member is, here are the two vice chairman of military commissions, right? So Xi Jinping is the chairman. And then he has two vice chairmen, and both guys are 72 years old. So they are both over the age limit. But one is going to retirement and the other guy is not. And Zhang Youxia, who is said to be the most trusted person in the military, in the Chinese PLA, by Xi Jinping, is not going to retire. So Xi Jinping wants continuity. And Zhang Youxia's father worked with Xi Jinping's father. So way back when, even before the CCP came to power, Zhang's father was the military commander of a theater, a military theater, and then Xi Jinping's father was the political commissar. So again, the two sons are kind of playing that role. One is the political leader, and the other is helping him militarily. So this guy is not retiring, even though he's 72 years old. But the other guy, Xu Qiliang, is. And the other interesting development is the head of the three agencies that manage Hong Kong, Taiwan, with Macau affairs, the three CCP offices. One is called Hong Kong and Macau Affairs, one is called the Taiwan Affairs Office, and one is called the CCP Hong Kong Liaison Office. So the head of all three offices are out of the Central Committee, out of the Central Committee, and they will be replaced. So I think Xi Jinping want to have new people managing Hong Kong and Taiwan affairs for him. So as far as who they are, we'll wait and see. But I think that is also an interesting signal that he's sending by changing the people running these offices. Okay, so I want to kind of wrap up my presentation by kind of give you so what is going through Xi Jinping's mind, right? So what, again, as outsiders, as people who live outside China, we want to know where China is heading, or where Xi Jinping is taking China in the next 5 years, so that we could better adjust our business strategy, investment, or even immigration, or should we stay in China for whatever job we're holding? I know a lot of my viewers are in China. I think this guy kind of gave a good picture, a good snapshot of the frame of the thinking behind the top CCP leadership. This is the guy who heads up the CCP's Central Policy Research Office. And his name is Jiang Jinquan. He replaced Wang Huning in 2020. And this organization, Central Policy Research Office, is said to be the Xi Jinping's brain, shall we say, or the organizations like his advisor, his political advisor, his policy advisor, right? His great ideas, or supposedly great ideas, come from this organization. So this guy, Jiang Jinquan, is his lead advisor. Okay. And this guy, in a recent interview during the 20th Party Congress, has basically made a comment. I don't know if I have it here. Maybe I have it in Chinese. I'll read it to you. He basically said what Xi Jinping has accomplished in the past 10 years is similar to what Zunyi Conference and the 11th Party Congress, the third session of the 11th Party Congress, have accomplished. So he made an analogy between Xi Jinping's accomplishment to these two major events that happened in the history of the CCP. I want to talk a little bit about the Zunyi Conference, January 1935. It was the event that established Mao Zedong as the CCP leader. At that point, the Red Army was on the brink of being totally defeated. They were on the what they call the Long March. It was basically a devastating point where they were on the brink of total collapse. But there was a meeting held at Zunyi. And at that meeting, there was a huge power struggle. Basically, Mao Zedong beat it out the other leader who was backed by the Soviet Communist Party, by the Russian Communist Party, and became the top leader. So that event in January 1995 established Mao Zedong's leadership within the CCP. And then the 11th Party Congress, the third session of the 11th Party Congress, in December 1978, established Deng Xiaoping's leadership. And that was also the official end of the Cultural Revolution. And it's also the starting point of the economic reforms. So when Xi Jinping's top advisor, lead advisor, made analogy to say what Xi Jinping has done in the past 10 years, or his accomplishment is similar to the accomplishment of these two events, he's basically saying, I want to read his quote. He's saying, here we go. Oh, here it is. He's saying, he's saying the 18th Party Congress, which was Xi Jinping's first party Congress, re-steered this party and then the country back to the correct direction. He said, Mao Zedong in 1935 saved the party at the crucial moment. And then Deng Xiaoping saved the party from collapsing economically, also at a crucial moment in 1978. So he's implying that Xi Jinping also saved the party 10 years ago, or at least steer the party and the country back to the right course. And that's kind of the political direction, the framework, I should say, the political framework that's going to be the basis for Xi Jinping's next 5 years. He is basically clearly saying the economic reform was not wrong in the beginning when Deng Xiaoping started, But in the last 20 years, or the 20 years before he came to power, during Hu Jintao and Jiang Zemin's time, it got sidetracked, or it went off in the wrong direction. And it caused serious crisis within the Communist Party. And when he came on board, he steered the party, or he's trying to steer the party back to the right course. And he's doing that to save the regime from collapse. So that's what his whole argument. So I think what we will see is, after the party Congress, I think he will take down more Jiang Zemin's people. I think more people from the Jiang faction will be taken down. China will become a more closed society. The economy will return to a planned economy. And basically, to summarize, China will become a supersized North Korea, or is on track to become a supersized North Korea. So this is what I have seen based on the analysis. All right, so oh my goodness, what do we have here? All right, so do people have questions for me? I'm going back to the super stickers. Okay. Thank you for all the donation. Did you see Return to Dust? 51-year-old man baby. I saw the movie. It's a very good movie. The question from Charles Womack. Suppose Xi Jinping suddenly dies. Who would replace him? Will there be another plenum? I think that's the question everyone is asking. So far, CCP leaders have all lived very long lives, believe it or not. So thank you for the analysis. Thank you. Thank you for the donation. All right, let me see. Do I have any questions? I'm sorry, there are just a lot of questions. And 内循环, someone, okay, from Gold Carbs, 内循环 can be translated as self-sufficient. Yeah, I think that's the right way. All right. Okay. From Catherine, thank you for informative analysis, Lei. All right, thank you. Do I have any other questions? From Sinan, thanks for telling me things I don't want to hear. Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. CCP leaders long lives due to organ harvesting. That's probably true. Since China is closing itself off, who will take up the manufacturing slack left by China? Aren't companies announcing setting up manufacturing bases in Vietnam and India? Right? I've done videos on that. Truth question from Boo Boo Bear. All right, let's see. Like, how is the new news that Taiwan will stop selling chips going to affect relations? Relations between what? China and the US? China and Taiwan? I'm not sure what you mean by relations. I did a shorts it was interesting how after the day after the U.S. announced further restriction on exporting advanced chips to China, one of the China's supercomputing center in Suzhou had a fire, and the fire started on the water cooling system on the roof. And there were so many Chinese saying it's so suspicious. How could you? And the super center is 2 years old. It's like brand new. And how could you have a fire on a water cooling system? Right? It's just unthinkable. And somebody, a Chinese netizen said the chances of having a fire in this type of building that's designed for like extra fire protection is like 1 in a trillion. So a lot of Chinese were talking about, well, could the fire be like one of those fires that goes on whenever the central government has an inspection on something? You know how the grain warehouse, every time the CCP, the central government decides to have an inspection on the local grain warehouse, these grain houses will mysteriously caught fire. And so you can't find out if they have any grains. So Chinese say maybe, after the U.S. sanction or the export restriction, the central leadership say, hey, we need to do an inventory on all the chips. We need to find out how many chips we have. And all of a sudden, these supercomputing centers say, they don't, because, the money, due to corruption, the money that the central government gave them could be spent on something else. So Chinese are very smart, because they immediately smelled something fishy. They say these fires are just too abnormal. The timing, and then the fact that it happened on a water on the water tower, and also it's a 2-year-old brand new buildings. So I just thought that's interesting. I did a 1-minute short on that. Didn't have much views. All right, question. Have you read the book 2034? It's a futuristic war between China and US. No, I have not. How do you see China maintaining their place as second largest economy by becoming isolationist or reclusive? Will they be able to maintain it? Rather, do they intend to maintain second spot? Economy is secondary to Xi Jinping. It's not that important to him. Having prevent the regime from collapse is more important. I always say the China we see from the outside is different from the China these CCP leaders see. Everything we see has been beautified, has been massaged. The data is massaged. Things that they don't want us to know are not revealed. So the dire situation, the dire reality in China is much more serious than the outside world can see. And there was also a discussion. So why people say, how could Xi Jinping hold on to power when so many people are against him, right? How could he hold on to power indefinitely? What happened to all the other smart Chinese who don't like him? He has so many people who are not happy. One reason is corruption. Corruption is such a widespread epidemic that people don't have the determination. I mean, the only people who are strong enough to oppose him are the people who really care about the future of China, are the people who really care about Chinese people, right? Only those people have the determination and the courage to be against a dictator like him, to be against the system. All the other CCP officials, they're corrupt. They want to live a good life. They have all the money. Some are in Swiss account or in the US. They have their families and children living somewhere else in the world. Why do they want to be opposing a system that has given them everything? Right? And if they do that, then Xi Jinping's anti-corruption knife could fall on them. So they don't. They are corrupt. So that's why nobody, is really, taking the chance to oppose him. So to answer your question, Economy is not important to him. Um, he wants to hold on to power. He wants the communist uh, model to be successful. He wants to. He truly believes in this model. He truly believes in communism is the best model for the world, and he wants to hold on to power. He wants this model to work, and he wants to roll that out to the world, to the rest of the world, because that's really the essence of what the communist ideology is. Please do some research and a video on this supercomputing fire. Okay, I have so many topics I want to do research on. I just thought that doing a 1 minute shorts is quick and something that you guys are aware of, rather than me taking a few days doing research. I want to let you know what's happening in China as fast as I can, as much as I can. Okay, you can't from you can bring back capital with an oversized government that controls or dominates almost everything. You're right. He does not believe in capitalism. He does not believe in capital. He only needs capital so that his economy does not totally collapse. But in their heart, in his heart and his advisors' heart, because these people, I have realized the people who run China, they don't understand what market economy is. They could learn. They could have set up a stock market. They could have set up a Fed or a central bank. They could do everything that a market economy does without having a good understanding what the true essence of a market economy. And because of that, China never had a real market economy. They just do all the things. They go through the motions of having same thing. You think the stock market in China is a real stock market? I've seen government notices to tell people not to sell stocks during the days the 20th Party Congress is going on. Do not sell stocks during those 10 days. I mean, that will not happen in any market economy, but it's happening in China. All right, so let's see. China, from Dustin Bauer, China has almost 100 million party members, and people believe Hong Kong and Taiwan got rich without being China. Got rich without being China. Who are the people you're referring to? The mainland Chinese? Yeah. All right. From lettuce salad, corruption is the lifeblood of the CCP. That's true. Only people to oppose him just got purged. Yep. And pretty much he's going to purge everyone. We'll wait and see. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. All right. China is becoming more and more like North Korea. The only difference is that China has money and North Korea is broke. Yep. But China is so much bigger than North Korea and more difficult to control. So, right. China has money not because of its policy. China has money because we have given it money. Uh, Once China's export, right now, the only thing that's still kind of working for the Chinese economy is exports. Once that's cut, it's going to go down very quickly. All right. All right. Let's see. All right. Well, thank you for the donation. Why is this article dated October 15th? Which article? All right. I'm going to take one more question. There's so many. I need somebody to organize questions for me, I think. All right. Super chats, don't forget. Super chats, yes. Do I have any super chats? I think I've gone through all of them. All right. Okay, so last question. Um, I see he is a true believer. Movement will be difficult then as he, oops, sorry, as he, it will be likely that foreign company policies would tighten. It will be interesting. Okay, so it will be interesting to talk about where the Chinese economy will be heading. I made a video about 2 weeks ago about the China's economic blueprint, where Xi Jinping is consolidating state-controlled economies, right? And I think it would be interesting to kind of talk about how the CCP plans to use Hong Kong as in the next 5 years, because I think Hong Kong will be interesting. The role that Hong Kong plays for the next 5 years will be interesting. So it will be, I'll probably will be looking into that and make a video. So it's already 11 o'clock and I haven't eaten dinner yet. I'm kind of a little hungry. So I thank everyone for your super chat and your super thanks. I might have missed a few, but I truly appreciate your support. Without your support, it's very difficult for me to do this, but I really enjoy the lives every Saturday night. So I hope it's helpful to you, and I look forward to the next one. All right. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. I'd better go grab dinner. Thank you. Bye bye.